At this point, you have outlined your informational essay, and you've written 3 to 4 fantastic hooks. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to write the meat of your introductory paragraph. And by the end of this lesson, you're actually going to have written your whole introductory paragraph. As I go, I'm going to model each of the 3 parts of the intro paragraph. And then I'm going to ask you to pause the video and to go actually write that section. Before we get started, however, I just want to quickly talk to those of you who are representing a developed country. You are someone who is not representing the country in need that you've been researching for the last couple of weeks. You're actually representing Australia or Sweden or England or Japan. If that is you, as you write your introductory paragraph, as I work through this lesson, you might think about writing from the point of view of the developed country. You also might think about introducing how your country, how Japan or how Sweden wants to help the developing country in your context. So when we get to the context section, you might include a little bit about your developed country there. Okay, so let's get started. If you're not a delegate from a developed country, don't worry about it. Just ignore that section. So we're going to start today with our hook. And this is the easy part, right? Your hook is the few sentences at the beginning of your essay where you are grabbing the reader's attention within the first few lines. Your goal is to make the reader want to continue reading your essay. So all you need to do right now is go back and look at the 3 to 4 options that you wrote already and to choose the one that you think best grabs the reader's attention. The other thing you might think about as you're choosing your hook is which of your hooks do you think sets you up to introduce your controlling idea? So my controlling idea is that Chad has a number of needs for sustainable development. So I want to choose one of my hooks that's going to set up the idea maybe of poverty in Chad or sustainable development in Chad. So the one that I liked the best that I thought did that was this one, the define it, citing statistics. So for my hook, I chose that. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the hook that I already wrote and I'm just going to rewrite it at the beginning of my introductory paragraph. And it may seem annoying that you have to rewrite it, but you want your whole intro paragraph together. So I'm going to rewrite that here. Citing statistics about how many individuals or families in a particular area are living below the poverty line is common. Yet how many of us really understand what life is actually like below the poverty line? Individuals or families living below the poverty line are defined as lacking what they need: food, shelter, basic health care to survive day to day. So I chose my hook. Your job now is to look through your options and to choose the one that you like the best. Pause the video now. Go rewrite your favorite hook. Okay, you have already written your hook down. You're ready to add some context to your introductory paragraph. Your context is where you're going to help the reader understand the context or the background or the larger context of your essay. In this essay, I want you to think about what do you want the reader to know about your country before you introduce its specific needs. Do you want them to know about the geography, how mountainous it is, or how dry and arid it is? Do you want them to know about how many people are living in poverty? Is it important to teach them maybe about sustainable development before you describe the sustainable development needs? So I'm going to look quickly at my organization because I want to make sure that my context is really setting up my controlling idea and my 3 needs. So my controlling idea is that Chad has a number of sustainable development needs, and my topics that I'm going to introduce, my supporting claims, are agricultural practices that are resistant to climate change, clean water and sanitation, and healthcare. So I want to make sure, I think as I'm looking at that I introduce kind of the larger context of poverty. I also see sustainable development here, and I'm not sure my reader is going to understand what sustainable development is. So those are the two things I want to introduce. How many people are in poverty in Chad, and what is sustainable development, and how does that relate to the needs they have? So in my context, I'm going to start by talking about poverty. So in many countries around the world, the percentage of people living in these conditions is horrifying. Chad, a country in Central Africa, so I'm introducing where it is one of those countries. 87% of Chad's population is living well below the poverty line, meaning that the majority of the country is barely surviving day to day. So in that first part of my context, I'm introducing just how many people are living in those conditions, right? Aren't able to survive day to day and are living below the poverty line. Now I want to teach my reader a little bit about sustainable development so that I'm setting up that part of my controlling idea. What they need, however, is not a quick fix to the harsh living conditions, but support developing systems that can be maintained over time, right? That's sustainability. It can be maintained over time. Only through sustainable development can we decrease the number of families living in poverty and make sure that it is even smaller in 15 to 20 years. So what I want you to do right now is I want for you to pick up from the end of your hook and to start writing your context. Think about, what does the reader need to know to really understand your controlling idea and the specific needs? What does the reader need to know about your country? Do they need to know about the geography? Do they need to know about how many people are living in poverty? Do they need to understand a definition that's going to be in your controlling idea? Get started writing your context. Okay, you have written your hook, you've written your context. Now you're going to foreshadow your argument. And this part is, I promise, a piece of cake. When you foreshadow your argument, all you do is you take this outline and you literally write your controlling sentence, your controlling idea, that one sentence, and then you write these 3 topics in one sentence after that. So my foreshadowing is going to be, Chad has a number of needs for sustainable development. That's my controlling idea. Those needs are agricultural practices, access to clean water, and healthcare. So here's what it sounds like when I wrote it all out. Chad has a number of needs for sustainable development. That's my controlling idea. Chad's greatest needs are agricultural practices that are resistant to climate change, access to clean water and sanitation, and healthcare. Pause the video. Go finish your introductory paragraph and foreshadow your argument. So at this point, you should have something that looks like this without all the highlighting, because I already highlighted it. You have a paragraph that has a hook, it has strong context or background, and 1 to 2 sentences where you foreshadow your argument. What I want you to do now is I want you to take a purple, an orange, and a yellow highlighter, and I want you to go back through your introductory paragraph and highlight the 3 different parts. Highlight your hook in purple, your context in orange, and your foreshadowing of your argument in yellow. Get started.